my soulmate is going to be 6'5" and Puerto Rican and Native American and has a 6-figure job. I hated when I would get clients who were basically looking for a supermodel.
And we will find a way to move on. 'Cause if it's meant to be, then it'll be a love song.
Hey, it's Gabby Fe. Welcome back to my podcast. I'm so excited that you came to join us today. You may have seen my viral videos on The Shade Room, Real Toronto News, etc., etc. We have a wonderful special guest today, 𝐤𝐤𝐬. 𝐤𝐤𝐬, how are you?
I am spectacular. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited you're here. If you guys don't know, 𝐤𝐤𝐬 was a matchmaker, like a legitimate matchmaker for people that want to get matched up. And like when I found this out, like I've known 𝐤𝐤𝐬 even way before that, like when we were doing acting shops together and acting workshops in like Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because you're from Atlanta,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. So 𝐤𝐤𝐬, can you tell us like how you got into matchmaking? Like what was that journey like? Like what's it like in the day of the life of a matchmaker?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'll start with how I got into it. At the time, I was in grad school at the time and was looking for, extra work to make money, but on a, semi-tight schedule with my schoolwork. And randomly, I checked the job board list. I went to Emerson, so Emerson would send out, a monthly job board. And on it was this company looking for matchmakers. And I thought, okay, no way is this real. But reached out, sent my resume, and they contacted me for an interview. And then a second interview. And then a third interview. And talked to me about the training and went through that whole process. And I got the gig and became a matchmaker, which for me, I'm a huge, huge, huge romantic. So it was absolutely perfect for me at the time.
I love that. And a big Scorpio energy over here.
Yes.
Me and 𝐤𝐤𝐬 are both Scorpios. So like I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yes.
Maybe on the side of like crazy romantic, but like
Oh my God, too romantic to function.
Too romantic to function.
I'm here.
So
Yeah.
𝐤𝐤𝐬, like when I think about like a matchmaker, like it's someone who's like little Cupid, like Cupid in human form, and like you're playing the the matchmaking game. So like how do you determine if two people belong together?
Oh, such a good question. So yes, on one hand, we are absolutely little Cupids flying around, just trying to find people love. But on the other hand, it's very difficult work because not only are you kind of an assistant, you're scheduling people, you're a therapist, you're dealing with people's, most of the time, their most vulnerable parts of their lives, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of energy. But how do I decide? It really comes down to moral values and, where you are in your life and what it is that you're looking for, and just really trying to match those things, but also temperament, because that's very important. If I think someone is going to vibe well, like for example, you're most of the time, high energy, extroverted. And if, I meet someone who is very engaging, very intelligent, can carry a conversation and can keep up with you, that goes a long way. So it's a lot of tiny little things, but it really does come back to those values and what you believe and what you want for your life.
It's so funny you say that because I love the strong silent types though. Like I love a man who's not gonna overtalk me and not gonna like try to steal the sunshine. Like it's so annoying because like in one aspect you would think, yeah, like he's high energy like me, he'll be great. And like and I've dated guys like that, and usually it goes down with like we'll be out with friends and he's like competing with me of how loud we can talk and how much we can talk. And I'm just like, can you calm down? Can you be the man now? Like, can you just calm the hell down? Like
that's real. I feel that they compliment you. And that's what I mean too, who can keep up with you, like someone who can handle that, not necessarily match you, like mirror you 100% in that way, but someone who can receive that and be okay and be comfortable. Do you know?
But how do you determine that when a guy comes to you like and says, hey, I want to be matched? Like, how do you know that he has those kind of attributes?
Let me tell you, it is not a 100% science, okay? I have definitely been fooled. And
Fooled?
yeah, you just don't know until you know, okay? And I pride myself on my intuition. I'm very insightful when it comes to people, but sometimes you just can't predict what someone's going to show you. You're only talking to these people, for an hour at a time, you know? So you can't...
Face to face?
Via Zoom, virtually. So it helps to be able to see them, to be able to pick up on the vibe. But, oh, child, you just don't know.
Oh,
You
my
don't
goodness.
always know.
Okay, so 𝐤𝐤, what we've all been waiting for. Tell us like a horror story of matchmaking. Like, what is it? Like, what like threw you off? Like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so homie lied to me. Okay. This is a client in Atlanta, beautiful, beautiful woman, beautiful Black woman, had her stuff together, very intelligent, incredible. I meet this guy who, you know, seemingly has it all, has the career, has, you know, just everything together, the finances, you know, great on paper. I set up the date, I scheduled the date. And I'm so confident. I'm like, this girl's going to love him. He's going to love her. They're going to vibe. I'm ready. I'm ready for that wedding invitation. That's how confident I was.
Whoa.
I was so confident. And so she comes back from the date. And normally I don't get feedback until the next morning. But I got feedback that night. And I was like, okay, this is either really good or it went really sour. And it turned out to be the latter because found out that not only did he lie when he told me that he did not have kids.
What?
Right.
How do you lie about kids though? You can't hide kids.
Bam. And oh yeah, and I swear this is so true. He had 4 kids, but one of the baby mamas found out about the date. And she showed up.
No, she didn't.
She
She didn't.
showed up.
Oh, no.
Gabby, I was so mortified on behalf of my client. And I was so embarrassed because I had been duped. Like, no one has been duped before. And I thought, wow, so y'all really out here like this.
Oh, my gosh.
Horrible.
Girl, I would be embarrassed and if I was that lady, I'd be marching back into that matchmaking office like, I want my money back.
And bless her heart, she could have, but she was so
my
gracious.
gosh.
She was just like, I don't know. But luckily we had matches that she went on prior to that. So we had developed that trust with each other. So this was an outlier. But yeah, I was like, babe, I'm not charging you for this date. Of course, let's go back to the drawing book. I'm so sorry. I'm going to look at my questions and see how I can help maybe avoid this situation in the next.
But how did the man respond to this? Did he really look you in the face and what did he do? What did he say? That's so embarrassing for him too. Like,
oh, I didn't even bother. I was like, get this man out of our system, please. This happened. I can't believe he made it this far. I mean, I kind of do because he just had it together. He had the photos. On paper, it just looked so good.
Of
But
course, on paper, but men be lying. Women too, but men be lying.
yeah. Well, that was the only instance like that.
Good.
But it was bad. I felt so terrible for her.
So this man walks into this matchmaking office and says, hey, matchmake me. I have no kids and I have my shit together.
Yeah.
But he turns out around to have 4 kids with multiple baby mamas, all this baggage, and he just didn't let you know?
Yeah.
Why did he think that would work? Like, I'm blown away. Like, sir, why did you think that would work?
Why did he think, like, at what point was he planning to say it was going to be a successful match, right? And they did go on future dates. At what point are you going to tell her you got kids? Because you can't avoid that.
Like, I'm sure you having to pay something for those kids. Like, she's going to notice as your woman. She's going to notice. That's crazy.
Horrible.
Okay, so 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐽.
Gabby Fe.
I love that, 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐽, Gabby Fe. Okay, so has any of them like ended up in marriage?
I wish. No.
Okay.
To this day, no.
Okay.
I do have one last couple who is still going strong. And it's going on a year and a half now. So there's hope, but yeah, as of now, no.
Well, kudos to them. A year and a half, and you matched them together, and it wasn't on Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, you know, like no shade, but
So proud of
that's
them.
amazing.
So proud of them.
So in that successful couple, did you know right away that it would be successful? Or like what were there any pauses? Or you're like, I don't know, like, you know, how sure were you?
No, I wasn't sure at all because they were actually one of my first matches very early on as I was fresh off of training as a matchmaker. And this has only happened twice, but it was actually his first match that he met her and they just hit it off. And he said, you know what? I don't really want to continue this. I think I want to pursue it with this woman. And I thought, wow, okay, great.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. But it was one of those things where I really just looked at their core values and they were so similar. They both came from the same background, the same kind of family. So they were able to understand each other on a deeper level. And really, it was just a stroke of, I don't want to say luck, but yeah, part of it was luck that they just happened to hit it off. Like, yeah, most of the time it does not happen that way.
Were they similar in age?
Yes. They were same age.
Is there a cutoff for like age gaps?
No.
So you will like match a 20-year-old with a 60-year-old? Not that big, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, well, actually that has happened. Did you say 60s? 60-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
At their request, or you just happen to find two and you're like, hey.
I have had elder, oh God, I didn't mean to say elder, but older clients who were just attracted to younger people and, you know, they were able to make it work. And
So, but did they have to put in their chart, like the girls, did they have to say, I want a man that goes up to 60 years in age if they were 20 or whatever? Like did they have to put that for you to match her with him?
yes, they have to, they have to meet when it comes to their criteria.
Really?
Yeah, but also
So kids, no kids, like that's all in there before you match
that's
them.
all in there. But there are deal breakers too. So it's not like if, say, for example, a client says, I can't date someone with kids, then I will absolutely, you know, honor that. But it's a preference usually. I'll be like, hey, okay, I went to the database. I, went with your original criteria, but I'm finding more people who I think you will have the most connection with who have kids. Can we discuss maybe opening up some of those guidelines? And sometimes they're like, you know what? Yeah, like let's just see. And sometimes the answer is no. And to that, the response is, okay, it'll take more time. So as long as you're okay with that, that's how you handle it.
Wow. That's amazing. You actually go through a database and you're looking at all these things and you're seeing who can match.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
I will say it was the company that I was working for. They did a very good job because not all matchmakers are created equal. Do you know? I've worked with matchmakers.
That database?
Oh, good question. I believe it was above 300,000, just above 300,000 in the U.S.
And you're matching people outside of the same city?
across the US. I would have clients in LA, I'd have clients in New York, I'd have clients in Detroit, wherever.
And 300,000 people are in this system.
In the system, yes.
Wow.
It's a lot.
And like, I mean, do you say you're in Atlanta and you see, you know, a man in Atlanta who matches with a woman in LA? Like, do you match them? Would you put them together?
Well, it depends. It depends on what they paid for, because there are different tiers. So, for example, I think the most basic package at the time was, you know, within however many miles, which is essentially the same state. But if you paid, say, the second tier, that would be open to the entire nation. And occasionally there would be, but that would be more for VIP clients where you can go Italy or wherever across the globe. So it just depends.
Wow.
But yeah, and also if you're willing to hop on that plane, a lot of people, you know, I mean, I'll hop on a plane for love. I don't care. But,
Me too. I totally would.
but yeah, if you're willing to do it, then absolutely.
Okay. So can you tell me, like, if someone was interested in getting a matchmaker and doing that process, what are like some of the mistakes that people make when going to a matchmaker?
Such a loaded question.
We want the tea on this
Oh
show.
my goodness. I think the biggest mistake is thinking that it's not about you, is finding or approaching it like, okay, like it's Build-A-Bear. Like,
What does this mean, 𝐥𝐤𝐬? What does
like,
this mean?
my soulmate is going to be 6'5" and Puerto Rican and Native American and has a 6-figure job and works in entertainment, and you know, all of these checklists, essentially putting the focus and, let's face it, control on another person, when the entire journey, because it is a journey, because it is a process, I can't make miracles happen and, you know, hand you your soulmate off the bat. Well, that one couple aside. But that's just it. It's a process, and it's entirely about you. So even if you meet, through me, your dream person, it's about realizing, oh, wait, this is what I like about them. This is what I don't like. This is what I need from a partner. This is what I don't need from a partner. And here's why. And seeing that shift take place in my clients is the most fulfilling thing in the world, because it's like, oh, wait, it was about me the whole time. Oh, I put myself out there. Oh, like, I'm stronger than I thought I was. Oh, I actually am okay. Like, I've had me the whole time. Like, things like that. It's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the world of matchmaking. Like, this is interesting stuff.
Yes, matchmaking can be a beautiful, magical process. And I firmly believe in it. Not everyone is meant for it or should do it, but I truly, truly, truly respect the world of matchmaking, for sure.
So, 𝐤𝐤𝐬, who is harder or more challenging to look for in a mate? Men or women?
It's equal.
Really?
Yeah, I really can't.
So what are some of the, I mean, you mentioned 6'5", Puerto Rican, Native American, 6-figure job. So I know I know a lot of women that look for that, you know. A lot of What are like some things that men look for, that they come to you and be like, I want a woman like this? Like, what are they saying? We want to know. What are they saying?
Man, it's like, first of all, I hate, okay, I hated when I would get clients who were basically looking for a supermodel or a Gigi Hadid and would, you know, like, and nothing else. Give me nothing else. Okay, I get it. You want someone who you find attractive, but huh? Like, don't you want to have a conversation? Don't you want to laugh? Don't you want to enjoy the... So things like that really, really irk me. But honestly, when it goes back to thinking about it in terms of gender, it really, honestly, comes more down to race.
Really?
When it comes to difficulty that I've observed.
Okay, what does that mean? Dive
It
deeper.
means that I had a harder time matching clients of color than white clients,
Why is that?
which isn't, necessarily something, it isn't necessarily something that is shocking to me, but I guess to be up close and see how things can be more difficult for people of color in the dating world, especially if you're queer, especially if you're neurodivergent, especially if you have a disability, it's very difficult. For example, my Black women clients, I was most protective of, and they had the hardest time. And it's because you're navigating all the assumptions about Black women. You're navigating judgment when it comes to wardrobe, when it comes to body image or presentation, when it comes to over-sexualization, fetishization. There's so much that you just have to weed through. And if you're a Black woman and you feel like, you feel like you're crazy in the dating world, you're not crazy. You're just not. I promise you, you're not, because you just have so much to deal with. And I wish I didn't have to say that, but whether you're gay, whether you're straight, it's just harder, or at least that's been my experience as a matchmaker. I was talking to another matchmaker friend. She's Afro-Latina, and she's been in the game way longer than I have, like 7 years plus. And she was telling me, I have never had a white woman client be rejected. And I thought, what? I said, what? Are you serious? She said, yeah. Yeah, and I believed her. That wasn't my experience. I've had clients who were white women who have been rejected, but I 100% believe that that was true for her, because there's just so much privilege there for white people, not only in every other aspect of America, but just in dating too. It's wild. It's wild.
That is, I mean, I understand, because like as soon as you said, if you're a Black woman, you feel crazy dating, don't. It's not you. Literally, I feel crazy dating sometimes. Like, and you're right about the assumptions. You're right about the misconceptions. I'm like explaining away things that I thought was normal, common knowledge things. And I'm just like, what is in people's heads? Are they just like watching like a certain part of the internet or a certain part of TV and then just assuming that every Black woman's like this or every Black woman's like that? I'm just like, huh? That's wild. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's so insightful, 𝐤𝐤𝐬, and thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with us, because I needed to hear that as well. Like literally. And like, I guess, okay, also too, are you matching people interracially? Okay, so it's like with everybody together pretty much.
Well, it depends on the client's preferences.
So they put that in the chart too, like
Yes.
interracial, not interracial, and then you put them together in a pool. They're in different pools pretty much.
Yes, if they don't volunteer the information, I have to ask.
Oh, okay.
I have to ask, especially when it comes to, because I don't want to waste anybody's time. I certainly don't want to waste, matches of colors time, because they show up on the day and, no one wants to feel that, see their day come and then their face immediately falls, just because of this one thing that could have been avoided.
Are these blind dates, or are they seeing a picture beforehand?
Blind dates.
I'm sorry,
100% blind.
what?
Yeah.
You're showing up to a man on a date and you've never seen his face, not even in a picture.
Blind dates, honey. Yeah.
Okay, that changes the game. I would be nervous as hell.
And they are, but it's also kind of beautiful to see because it just forces you to be more open to the experience. And so you can't Google them, you can't search Instagram or social media and make whatever judgments you're gonna make. You're just there for the ride.
That is scary.
I know.
That is scary. Just because, like, for example, me as a plus size woman, there are some guys who are really fat phobic and hate fat women. So if I show up on a date and he sees that I'm plus size and he like doesn't like it or whatever, like I mean, it's gonna be awkward for me. It's gonna be awkward for him. Like, how's that date gonna go? Like, do you ask guys preferences on these charts, like if they would date like bigger women or curvier women? Is any of that like on there?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes, that's your matchmaker's job.
Okay.
To make sure you're going to have the most empowered experience possible. So if they're setting you up on dates with people who are fat phobic, hello,
they should have known beforehand.
like that's the job. That's the job. Wow. So a lot of people will not be forthcoming about their preferences, but you have to be straightforward.
Have you ever matched a plus size woman with anybody?
Yes.
Have they come back with their experience there? Like, have they like came back from a date and said, yeah, it was great, or like, no, I don't think this matchmaking is for me? Like,
oh, both.
Both. Okay.
Both.
So you've had experience with like plus size women and straight size women, like that has been like, has there been any difference, or has it been like similar between both experiences?
Similar. The only thing that's different is, to your point before, is the intake interview process. The only thing that's different are my questions up front. Like, hey, have you dated plus size people in the past? Like, what do you find attractive? Tell me. And leaving it open-ended and, giving them room to answer. That way I can hear. Unless if they don't tell me anything specific, that's when I go in and say, hey, okay, like, are you willing to date a Black woman? Are you dating someone who is differently abled? Are you willing to date someone older? Are you willing to date someone plus size? And it's all in service of the client, because again, you do not want your client to show up feeling less than, because no one deserves that.
Yeah, for sure. So like, what are these? I mean, what are some of the examples of what these guys are saying when they say I'm looking for a woman that, or I'm looking for a woman that is, like, how are they responding to you? Like, what are some of the clients or men that you've worked with? What are they saying that they're looking for in women?
Yeah. Once you get past the, vague answers of, like, as long as they take care of themselves and, are healthy. Okay, that's basically code for someone who is skinny.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real. Okay. It's like, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to sound like an athlete. I'm like, okay, but we have to do this. So you might as well just
don't waste my time.
Exactly.
Okay, you don't want all this lusciousness. Please don't waste my time.
Just be honest about it, okay? Like, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to make the best match possible. And I can't do that if you're not honest with me. So, yeah, men will say, once you get past all of that, they're like, yeah, you'd be surprised. It's across the board. You just gotta ask the right questions. I've had men say, oh, I know what I can tell you. What really helped a lot is, at first I was really shy about this because I felt kind of cringy, but I had this body chart. If we're talking specifically about physicality.
You had a body chart.
Yeah, there's a body chart with different bodies, shapes, and sizes. And I would show the matches. And I would be like, okay, so, who are you dating right now on this chart? Like, what do you prefer on this chart? And they would tell me, oh, number 2 to 6. or 4 to 5.
Well,
or,
how big is it? How many bodies are on this chart? How big is this chart?
Yeah, it was like 4 at the top. 5 out of so 10. 2 rows of 5.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
Wow. So, oh my gosh. Okay, did you have that from the beginning, or you just like brought that in?
No,
So where
I
did you
did
get
not
this
have
from?
it. I was talking to other matchmakers, and I would be like, okay, hey, how do you ask these questions? How do you, get the truth out of these people? And one of them, a friend of mine, she was like, I actually use the size chart. And I go, wait, what? That works? And she goes, yeah, I'll send it to you. And that's how I started using it.
Did that clarify things for you?
I mean, yeah, it definitely, and it also took the pressure off of them. They didn't have to fumble with the words
Yes.
or whatever. They'd be like,
Yes.
oh, okay, I see this, it clicks. This is what I want. This is what I gravitate towards.
That's amazing and like so interesting. Like I love that because like now you can just like literally because they're not seeing pictures, so like you're not seeing pictures. So this is like kind of a stick figure picture. Like that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. So like when you get past that awkward stage of like the sizing parts, like what attributes are they seeing that they want in women, or do you go over that or no?
With anyone, I always say, well, tell me, what are you looking to invite into your life? What does your ideal relationship look like? What qualities in a person really vibe with who you are and how you carry yourself? And so, yeah, just really using that as a beacon.
Okay. And that, so what, so like when you get past that, then it goes to the first date. Do you have follow-up meetings after every date, or is it a certain point where you're just like, okay, you're on your own now? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, after every date, we get a feedback form and, tells me, how they felt about the location, the type of date. Do you want to do something more casual next time or something more intimate next time?
You plan the date?
I plan the date.
Like what they do, where they
Right.
go, what?
And that's what I mean, the more technical things to the job versus just being the Cupid,
Wow, you're planning dates out here?
Yes, it's a lot.
So like how do you know where to take them, I guess?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the process, I always ask them, okay, what's a situation that is the least stressful for you? And, I'm like, okay, do you just like straight dinner dates or, casual lunches? Do you want to go for a walk in the park? If it's women clients, I'm a little more mindful of safety. Or queer clients, definitely more mindful of safety. So I try to keep it in public areas, public settings. But yeah, if someone is more adventurous, I'll schedule maybe, what's the thing? Axe throwing or whatever, activity-based date, especially for clients who have a lot of anxiety, something that they can focus on versus just sitting there and, feeling nervous and not able to show their true authentic selves because they are so nervous by the setting. Yeah. So it really just depends.
Can you give me 3 values that you look for in 2 people that you know that they're a potential good match?
Yeah. So believe it or not, religion is a huge factor.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, it is a big one. So, if and that's tricky too, because sometimes people can believe that they're not as religious as they actually are.
What?
Meaning that they come from a certain family or upbringing where those traditions were steeped in more than they thought they were. So until they, go on a date with an atheist because they told me they don't care about religion.
Oh.
And they figure out, oh, wait, no, this is actually more important to me than I thought it was.
I see.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. It's all part of the process. And that's, again, going back to the journey of figuring things out for you and who you are and what actually matters to you.
I always tell people this, like on my like TikTok and Instagram, whatever, is that like when like if you are not used to dating and you don't know how to date and like you're not used to it, like these are things that you don't know until you start doing it.
Right.
Because before I started dating, I thought I knew what I wanted to. I thought I would be more open-minded and okay with certain things. And then I started dating. And I was like, oh, dating is showing me what I don't want and what I can't tolerate and what doesn't work for me. So I need to like switch it up and like be more selective.
Yeah.
Because if we're talking long term, we're talking, white picket fence, like spouses, all that, like you got to live with this person. You got to like talk to this person every day. You got to sleep with this person. Like you don't want to be with someone who like you just don't have anything real in common with, anything like your values aren't like together, like because that's going to get to be too much. And then my biggest thing is like I want kids. So like if I'm sharing a child, sharing another life with you, like we're tied together forever because we have these kids together. I need to know that like we agree on parenting styles, we agree on discipline, we agree on like what we're going to teach our kids. Unfortunately, I'm a Christian. Like I want to raise my kids Christian. Oh, sorry, not unfortunately. I meant unfortunately for the atheist guys who try to date me.
Okay.
So yeah,
got it.
Unfortunately for the atheist guys who try to date me, it doesn't work. I've dated atheists before because I'm like, oh, like this is like like what's the, trying to be like, oh, it's casual, like let's see how it goes, and then we would end up fighting over like beliefs in God and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't. It feels like pulling teeth or like nails on a chalkboard when I talk about God, and he's like, oh, God isn't real. Like God is real. It's like it just doesn't work. Like that doesn't work because I'm just gonna get annoyed of you. Like, he's so annoying. And then what do we tell the kids? I'm not telling my kids that God isn't real. He's totally real. So like that is too much. It's too much for me.
Important questions.
Yeah. And it's like, oh gosh, if you don't want your life to be super exhausting, I feel like you should figure all those things out now, because you may not think it's a big deal, like you said, until longer. And then you're just like, oh, this isn't working for me. Like a woman, I won't name who married. So she was a woman who like had abusive relationships in the past, and she married, and the abusive relationships that she was in, the type of men they were alpha men, they were providers, like they took care of all the bills, but they were freaking abusive. So I feel like sometimes when women go through abusive situations like that, they tend to seek the opposite. So this woman married a man who was not abusive, but also wasn't a provider. So she took the bulk of being the breadwinner, taking care of, the family and all of that. And he was really nice to her and like, I guess emotionally supportive, but he couldn't be there for her financially or even doing work around the house, like nothing like that. And so this woman, she got sick of it, and she was like, this doesn't work for me anymore, because now I'm over the abusive part. Now I realize I need a partner who's actually going to be there for me and meet me in these areas that I need. Not just, I can't just be with you because you're nice to me and you're not abusive. I need to be with someone who can meet me in these areas, like, providing, paying for some of the bills, or like fixing things around the house, something like that. She needed to be met that way. But you're not with a partner, you're with someone who you have to take care of. Big difference, huge difference, so I've been learning that too. Like I just need to, I need someone who can meet me in certain areas, meet me halfway and compliment me, like you said, compliment. And that's what I'm learning too. Like I said, the guy who's like, super popular and football quarterback and all of that, and he's just like talking my ear off and like not letting me get a word out. And I did date someone like that because I thought they were cooler than me, and like I thought they were cooler than me.
Cooler than you, Gabby.
I was like, this is great, like he's so cool. And then I got annoyed, and I was annoyed because he was literally just like, I had to be silent all the time around this guy because he wouldn't let me shine just a little bit, just a little bit. He just, you know what I mean? I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't work, you know? So I need balance. I need balance. And that's really what's important to me. But so 𝐤𝐤, as a matchmaker, you're finding love for all these people. You're a Cupid. You're doing, you know, you're making the world a better place because you're putting lovers together. What about yourself and your personal life? Like, what's your love life like? What's your dating life like? What is it like? Tell us about you, 𝐤𝐤 J.
Wow, amazing question. So that's actually the first question people ask me is, oh, does being a matchmaker help you with your dating life? And I'm always so sorry to tell them yes and no. Yes, but not in the way that you think. I'm not going out on a million dates or anything like that. It isn't easy, but no. Just because I have my own, you know, things, my own traumas, my own history that I'm working through. So like for me, for example, I am a very shy dater. Okay, just for some background, people, I grew up in the South, come from a religious family. I love God. Just FYI. But am also a lesbian. So growing up, that was always at odds for me. I did not feel like I had a place in church or really just in general, simply because I felt like, oh, I am inherently wrong for just being gay. Which, you know, a lot of people have that similar journey. But anyway, so I really didn't start dating until really just recently in my late 20s, because and that's actually quite common for queer people, while straight people are figuring out like dating norms like in their teens and like in college and things like that, and you know, they're experimenting and finding out what works for them. You know, a lot of queer people find that out later in life, which is something that I identify heavily with. So while I am in such a good place now, I still have a lot of work to do. I'm still exploring and figuring out, okay, this is how you put yourself out there. This is, you can ask a girl on a date. And it's funny, I actually did ask a girl on a date today.
Today?
Yeah.
You asked a girl out today?
Yes, and it was a huge deal for me because I'm so shy. I never, okay. I should also say I also experienced a lot of rejection when I first came out of the closet. And
no one can reject you, 𝐤𝐤 J.
Oh God, you're so sweet. They absolutely did. But yeah, like it was very raw for me, you know. So for me to ask anyone out is a huge deal. And so the fact that I did it didn't exactly work out the way I planned. But the fact that I did it, I was so proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. Thank you. Thank you.
Because I mean, I guess like hearing you say that you're shy is like, huh? You're shy? Like, but like, I guess because I know you're always comfortable with me, you can talk to me. But like outside looking in, yeah, I can see that you can be shy. You know, I can see that. But like, I mean, that you're so brave, and like, I'm proud of you for actually having the courage to ask someone out. I am not shy, but I will not ask a man out on a date. Like, I just won't do it. Okay, sorry. I have done it a couple times. Oh, I guess, yeah, I have done it. Okay. But like, it's like mostly because I'm very, okay, I can't say that. That's the wrong word. I feel like I'm a little bit too much for certain personality types. So I feel like if I were to start going around and asking people out, I might scare a lot of them off. And face a lot more rejection doing it that way because I do come off strong, and I don't mean to. It's just kind of part of my personality. I do come off a little strong. Because I feel like if I like you or if I'm vibing with you, I'm gonna be all over you, and maybe some people don't respond to that, I guess. Well, so I'm like scared to do that. Like I'm genuinely scared to like go up and ask someone out because I'm just a lot. And I guess, and I don't feel like I'm a lot for the right person. I feel like for the right person, not a lot. But like my whole life, I feel like people have told me that I'm a lot. So like sometimes I have that like insecurity in my head, like, oh, I'm too much. I'm a lot. They can't process me or whatever, you know what I mean? So like I feel that insecurity a little bit sometimes in the back of my head. So like that's what scares me to do that. But like, maybe I'll get over it. Maybe I will. Like I did ask a guy out like a few months ago. And that was the first time in like years, probably. But like, and that worked out for a little bit, and then now we're just friends, and that's fine with me, whatever. But like, that was a lot for me to do. Like I was like having like pop, like,
heart palpitation.
My heart. I was like, I did it, So I'm really proud of you that you did it. Like that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, you too. That's so interesting. Yeah. The whole being too much thing. I feel for you because, like if I were those guys, like I would find that attractive. You know what I mean? Like why don't people find that attractive? Like you go after what you want,
right? And
you are who you are. Like that's to me the best part. So you would think it would be the opposite, but I totally understand that. I also am very sensitive, and I have big emotions. So whenever I would lay those emotions down for whatever person had my attention, it would be like, oh, you're too much. Oh, I can't. You're just, and I'd be like, wait, what? Wow. Don't you want to connect on a deeper level?
I say that all the time too. I really feel like that's like a big Scorpio energy. It's two Scorpios here because I feel the same way. Like, don't you want to get real deep, Give
me
real
soul.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like the bottom depths of your soul. I want to lick your soul. You know what I mean? Like, but like that comes off really intense to people, especially these fire signs out here. They get too crazy about it. But I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't know any other way to connect. Like, I want to lick your soul. And if you're not into that, and you're not into going deep, and you're not into getting into I want to know everything about a person, and I want them to be super honest, the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't care what you've done. You just have to be honest about it because I understand we're on Earth. Okay. Earth can be really shitty sometimes, and then it can be really great sometimes. And I need to know all of it because I need to know who you are. And I feel like I don't get a good sense of who you are if you're not being honest. And I was once in love with a man who was not honest with me. And I was like, I thought I was in love. He thought I was in love too. The day that I found out he was lying, I instantly lost feelings. Like I instantly fell out of love.
I love that for us as Scorpios. Once
you lied to me?
Yeah.
Who are you, sir? I don't know you. Yep. We're not even friends anymore.
We're good. We're good. Done.
And it's so okay. This is TMI. It's embarrassing to even be this vulnerable, but we're vulnerable on the Gabby Fe podcast. I literally was in love with this man, and from day one of our relationship, he was lying to me. I didn't find out until I broke up with him, I don't know, 8 months later or something like that. And when I broke up with him, and it was kind of that breakup, but we still like each other thing. But then I was really broken up when he when he went with the next girl 2 weeks later after being with me for months. I'm like, okay, if you can get over me that quick, obviously I wasn't that important to you. So I started to get over him, started to put myself out there and date other people.
Yeah.
6 months later, he comes back. He calls me and proposes marriage to me on the phone.
Excuse me?
Proposes marriage to me on the phone. and literally with no ring. And I fell for it.
On the phone?
On the phone. Who proposes on the phone?
Right.
Literally, who proposes on the phone? So then I literally was like, oh, okay, yes. I was swept up with emotions,
oh my
big Scorpio.
God, babe.
embarrassing. Like I told you, this is like embarrassing, but I'm saying it. So like I said yes for a millisecond. I said yes because I was like, oh, like I was swept up in the emotion. I was like, this is cool. So I was like, okay, one of the issues we've had in our relationship is that you're not consistent. Like I said, I didn't know he was a liar at that point, because lying that's like a big deal breaker. But at this point, we were breaking up because he was so inconsistent with me. He wouldn't call me once a day. I'll ask once a day, text me once a day, let me know you're alive. He'll go 3 to 5 days without contact. And like, if you're going no contact for 3 to 5 days, who are you spending your time with, sir? Like, who are you with that you can't bother to like give me a phone call or send me a text in 3 to 5 days? Like, that is crazy to me. So I was like, when he asked me to marry him, I was like, okay, but like, you need to be consistent about, you know, you calling me, right? He's like, yeah, I definitely will, whatever. So I was on my way to the gym. It was like maybe 6 p.m. And I was like, okay, I will be done with the gym by 8:30. Call me then. He's like, I will call you at 8:30. We get off the phone. I get back after the gym to my house. 8:30 comes, don't hear from him. 9, I'm texting him like, hello, like what's going on? I give him a call. He doesn't answer. I was like, you know what? You're just reminding me why I broke up with you in the first place. I'm done. I blocked his number. The next morning, 6 a.m. And I love my sleep. I don't like getting up before the sun gets up. 6 a.m. I'm getting blown up, like my phone with random numbers I don't even recognize. I don't even know, like 5 different random numbers just calling. And I was like, it must be him because I blocked his number. So I finally pick up and was like, yeah, what do you want? And he's like, oh, you blocked me. And like, I was eating dinner with my mom last night and that's why I didn't call you and blah, blah. I was like, so you couldn't call me after? You couldn't send me a text, say, hey, I'm busy right now, I'll call you in a bit. You couldn't do any of that? You just decided not to call me and then blow up my phone at 6 a.m. when I'm sleeping? Sir, no. So after that, I was done with him and I was like, just don't, like, stop calling me. 2 months later, now this is like done. Like 2 months later, I've already forgotten you because I had already stopped talking to him for 6 months. It was just like that one emotional fake marriage proposal phone call. So 2 months after that, he calls me and basically was like, so now that I know that you're officially done with me and you're not going to give me another chance, I thought I would tell you the truth. I was cheating on you the whole time.
Oh my God.
And I lied to you about where I was living, and I lied to you about, and he did this on FaceTime so he could see my facial expression.
Oh my God.
He did this on FaceTime so he could see my facial expression. And I tried so hard not to give them the satisfaction of a shocked facial. I tried so hard to not give him the satisfaction. I not want to give this man the satisfaction of a facial expression. So I tried so hard to hold it, but everything shows on my face. I could not hold it. So I was like, oh. I was so angry. And then I was like, the utter shock that I was in. I was like, because this is like, I was in love with this man. We were like on and off for like, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that. So to get all of this information 8 months after I fully broke up with him, minus the fake proposal, this was like done. Like I had already dated other people. I was like, he was not in my hemisphere at that time. So when he told me all of that, I was like, you did this for you. You didn't do this for me. You did this to get a clear conscience, to get this off, this load, this weight that you've been holding off of your shoulders. You did this so that you can feel better. You didn't do this for me. You weren't telling me the truth in this manner for me. You were telling me the truth because you knew that you're a shitty person and you couldn't live with yourself anymore from all the lies that you were telling me. And goodbye, sir, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And it was just like the audacity. 1, 2, I was just in utter shock that I didn't know that he was lying the entire relationship. I just felt disgusted. And ever since then, this man will find another random number to call me to try to get back in my good graces.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm dead ass.
No.
He's obsessed. These men are obsessed. And I'm just like, get a life, honey. Like, this is not happening. And then he like I think after that, because like we were friends, you know, like Scorpios, we get really deep with people that they see as that they want to be in our lives, even if it doesn't work out romantically, because we're good friends, we're good partners, we're good homies, we're good lovers, like we're honest with people. And I feel like that, like it was something that he lacked in his life. He didn't have from anybody else. So he only had that relationship with me. And when I didn't want anything to do with him, he just could not take that as an answer. So he would always come back, and he still does come back. Like a couple months ago, he called me and he was like, from a random number, and he was like, hey, yeah, I'll be in LA like next week. I want to see you. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, bye. And I blocked the number because he's delusional. Like he is literally insane at this point. I can't even like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like play along and then block the number again because he's at this point you're deranged. Like please leave me alone, sir. You know? And I'm just like, you know, it's just ridiculous. It gets ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry that happened and that it is still happening in your life, that this fool thinks that he can enter your space, you know, uninvited. That's ridiculous. But wow.
So sad.
Yeah.
And like, oh, even before that, so I forgot before this last couple months. So after that phone call where he told me the truth about what he was lying, like he was like, and okay, have you ever been in a situation where someone told you the truth and they had been lying to you for a while, but as soon as they told you the truth, you had flashbacks to all the moments that he lied? Like this man was telling me this, and I literally had so many flashbacks of all the moments where it didn't make sense. And now that he told the truth, it makes sense. I was like, wow, that's why that happened. And that's why that happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm connecting dots. Yeah. And I'm just like, this makes sense now. You're a liar. And it makes sense. Like now that you told the truth. And I remember this one conversation when we were together. He was telling me something. Oh, he was like, Gabby, like, you know, this is like, I guess this is when he was falling in love. He's like, I really value you as a person. I really value our relationship. And even if we don't end up being together, I want us to be friends forever kind of deal. And I was like, okay, but like, what makes you say that? Like, why would you say that? And he's like, I just, you know, is there any reason, I don't know why, like, this is like, he said, is there any reason why you would stop being friends with me? You would get me out of your life. You would stop having any kind of relationship with me or anything to do with me. Is there anything that I could do that would make you cut me off like forever for good? I said, if you lie to me, like if you lie, and I'm not talking about little lies, whatever that can, but this was a big lie. This was like, the whole relationship is a lie. It's like a man telling you he had a second family the whole time that you were married to him kind of lie. It was a big lie. And I was like, if you lie to me like that, I could not have you in my life, because I live my life by the truth. In anything and everything that I do, I'm honest, I'm truthful. I don't care of the consequences. I will be honest. I will be truthful. That's the kind of person I am. That's how I was raised. And this is important to me. This is a core value that you cannot break, because it will be a deal breaker. I cannot deal with liars. I said it to him like that.
Yeah.
You know, he still lied.
Lies gonna lie.
And then he had the nerve to come back a year after we broke up and literally try to get back with me. And I was like, did you not hear me the first time? You're a liar, and I don't date liars. Okay? Like, no. So, I mean, that's really the delusions of some of these people.
That's disrespectful. Just the wasted time is the thing. I mean, come on. That's horrible.
I know. It was pretty bad, pretty sad.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it was a learning experience. And I feel like when you're an adult and you're mature in your relationships and you're mature enough to date for real, you know to respect people's like core values. And I'm big on communication. Like, I'm going to communicate these values to you so that you know ahead of time. So there is no excuse. It's just that's the way you wanted to do it, and you lost out. And that's what that's the consequences, right? Like, same for me. Some things that I could do that I would lose out, and that's like the consequences. Like, as adults, we just know sometimes there's like consequences, and like I'm not like, I wish him well, like I hope he's doing well, but I just can't have him in my life because of that.
Yeah.
Because that, like, I value my friendships and I value my relationships, and what I value about them is that they are the truth. If it's not honest, I don't want it. If you're not like being truth, living in your truth, doing what you know to be transparent, then I'm not gonna vibe with you at all. It's not gonna vibe well at all. So, but yeah, that's my
Power to you.
So Keela, what advice would you give someone who wants to be, or who wants to use a matchmaker's service? Like, I guess, yeah, what advice would you give people who want to do something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, to start, yeah, matchmaking in general is not cheap. So, oh my God. Are you actually asking? Like with my company, it like the starter package was like $3,000
For like ever, or for years?
for a total of 3 dates, 3 matches,
$1,000 per date?
essentially.
Wow.
And then
I see why they asked for 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤 and Bella Hadid. You can get them at those prices.
Sorry. But yeah, like, and VIP would be like 35. So it's
Do women and men pay the same?
yeah,
Wow.
indeed.
Okay.
Equal opportunity. But just in general, other matchmaking companies, it's not a cheap service. So really do your research and don't just jump into the first company that you see just because they're promising you the world. Because let me tell you, I have made that mistake. Well, it wasn't really a mistake, but the matchmakers that I worked with personally, for me, as a femme presenting lesbian, it's a little harder to find dating partners who are also femme. I don't know what it is about
lesbians.
No, about certain aspects within the queer community, because the queer community as a whole is very liberated and very what's the word? Just what's the opposite of heteronormative, right? But certain things within the queer community feel very heteronormative. So, like, for example, when people find out I'm gay, the assumption is I am looking for a mask of center partner, or someone who is, just very, very masculine. And that's a beautiful experience. I love you for who you are and for your expression, but that's just not what I'm looking for when it comes to my dating partners. So it's a little hard to find femme for femme couples, at least in my experience. So I specifically reached out to a matchmaking service that addressed that issue. It was a femme for femme company, and I loved that. It was the only one that I found, right?
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Okay.
In theory.
Oh.
And, don't get me wrong, I am so sure that they have helped plenty of couples out there, and I love that for them, but they just really dropped the ball for me. And certain things could have been avoided had I asked more questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to really take your time, don't rush it, because I understand that feeling of wanting to get swept away right away. You want to get started. You're excited. You're just ready to go. But really do your research, really talk to these people. Are they going to vibe with your personality? That's another thing. And how you want to be communicated with. Do you prefer texting or calls? Do you prefer emails only? Does your matchmaker prefer emails only? Do you expect check-ins every week or every 2 weeks? Or do they have more freedom to match on your behalf and, simply come back to you when they have a match ready for you? Right. These are all important things that can save you a lot of trouble and energy if you establish them up front. So that's one thing. 2, oh gosh. really, really, and I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. Like I said before, it's such vulnerable work, but please do your best not to put extra pressure on yourself just because a matchmaker, does their work, gives you, matches that look good on paper that, for whatever reason you believed in your mind should have worked but didn't. It does not reflect on you. It's so easy for us just because, we want something so much and we don't have it right now to turn on ourselves and be like, oh, okay, something must be wrong with me. I must be doing something wrong. I need to go to therapy. I need a dating coach. I need to read these books. Da, 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 da. The list goes on and on and on. And you will be working on yourself until the end of time. And babe, you're a human being. You're not... One of my life coaches actually told me this. You're not a perpetual project that you have to keep working on. I mean, yes, we all have our things. We all have our issues to work through and understand about ourselves. But it's okay to leave yourself alone. It's okay to just be on the ride and let things flow. So that would probably be my biggest piece of advice. Just try your best to relax and have fun. Have fun. It's all about feeling empowered and just I don't know, just have fun. It's supposed to be fun. Enjoy yourself. This is your life. And your heart deserves to breathe, to exhale. Exhale. Just a little bit.
I love that, 𝐥𝐤𝐬. That was inspiring for me. And thank you so much for coming on the Gabby Fe podcast. Like, we loved having you. I know so many people want this kind of information because we're used to dating on Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, all of the things. And matchmaking services have been around before the internet. And just to hear someone like a modern matchmaker like talk about your experiences, that has helped me. I know it's helped everybody watching. So 𝐥𝐤𝐬, can you tell us where we can find you on the gram and wherever else you're at?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Hey, it's 𝐥𝐤𝐬. I do have a Twitter, but I do not use that account, so please don't look for me on Twitter. But yeah, if you look me up, please feel free to reach out if something resonated with you, if there's something that you're interested in discussing more, or if you want resources on dating coaches or other matchmaking services, whether you're straight, whether you're gay. I am happy to connect you to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much. And everybody watching, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you liked whatever we talked about, please comment what your favorite thing was. And thank you for coming to the Gabby Fe podcast. And we'll see you next time. Bye.